esta conversación es el mapa, pero el mapa nunca es el territorio. Las palabras por sí solas no te van a sacar del dolor. Se necesita trabajo. Y el trabajo real, el que cambia todo, empieza en el enlace que está en la descripción. Se llama RUTA CRÍTICA. Si te resuena y estás listo, aplica ahora para la entrevista de selección. Friends, welcome to Fe Conciencia. Today is a treat. I want to share with you that I've just spent the past week inside the Possible You, Rabbi Yom Tov Glaser course. And let me tell you, it's not a course, it's a spiritual CrossFit. It stretched my muscles in my soul I didn't even know I had. I went in thinking that it would be a nice little seminar and came out feeling like someone had taken my operating system, pressed Ctrl-Alt-Delete, and installed a brand new update while I was still blinking. Now, Rabbi Yom Tov isn't our average rabbi. Before the black hat and the beard, he was a California surfer chasing waves and guitar riffs. Just picture it. A guy who once measured life in feet of swell and decibels of music, and now teaches thousands how to break free from mental prisons we don't even realize we've built. That's a plot twist even Netflix would reject for being too dramatic. So today, instead of just talking about the seminar, I want to meet the person behind the black coat, the man who hacked his own life. Because if there's anyone who can teach us how to escape one matrix without getting trapped in another, it's him. Welcome, Rabbi Glaser.
Thank you, Jack.
It's a pleasure to have you. And first of all, most people go from religion to surfing, not the other way. How does a Californian surfer end up wearing a black hat in Jerusalem? And that sounds like a reverse miracle.
Yeah, you know, the Jewish people are very big on disappearing, so they either like to wear black hats in these living communities where they disappear from the world. And then the other Jews are the ones going to surfing because they just want to disappear from Judaism. Jews are amazing at disappearing. So I think that it was just, I had no desire to be even keeping Judaism. It was just a freak situation. My father's business went bankrupt. He had, he just didn't have money to fulfill a promise because he had promised me if I got a university degree, he would send me around the world surfing. And I got a free ticket to Torah in the Jewish quarter in the old city, overlooking the Temple Mount and the Kotel. And that was it. I got a free ticket. I went to Israel. How I got convinced that this was a good idea is a long discussion on so many levels. Intellectually, I found that my progressive liberal, kind of atheist background was not sufficiently answering life's questions at all, And it was also wartime. It was the middle of the Gulf War, and that's the time. I was 23 years old. I wanted answers that would be long-term answers. I'm a long-term kind of guy. I'm still serving. I'm still playing music. Everything I ever did, I do. Yeah.
That's very cool. I wonder, there was a special time or conversation or like a hack in your mind that you tell yourself, okay, it's a point. This is it. I have to make a change in my life.
Yeah, there was something specific that when in one of the classes there in Jerusalem, they showed us the scroll of Esther, which is 2,500 years old, Megillat Esther, and in there has a strange page that looks like an Excel sheet, where it's just the sons of the evil, guy in the story, Haman. It has a list of the 10 sons.
Yes.
And in that list of the 10 sons are 3 small letters, which are, in the first name there's a Taf that's small, and a Shin that's small, and a Zion that's small. And every sofer every scribe for 2,500 years has to make sure those are there, or the whole thing's not kosher.
Yes.
But it turned out that Esther said that when she was reporting to the king about, that these 10 sons of Haman were killed, Haman was killed, a bunch of other people were killed, she asked that they be hung tomorrow. They're already dead. She said, may they be hung tomorrow. But tomorrow, she's a prophetess, Esther was a prophetess. When she said tomorrow, it means the future. And it also means the future. And turned out that 2,500 years later were the Nuremberg trials. In the exact year of Tafshin, Zion, in 5707, was the hanging of the Nuremberg Nazis. And the last Nazi, before he was hung, he was going crazy. And right before he was hung, he said, and now I go to God. And then he yelled at the witnesses, Purim Fest, 1946. And so when I saw there's a Purim reference in the exact date of 20 of the Haman's children's list in the, that was like, okay, a human being did not write this book. Whoever wrote this book had full vision of all history. And I walked out of there, I went straight to the phones because my parents were gonna send my surfboards to Paris that day.
Yes.
I was about to lose my boards, 3 boards in a big board bag. They're professional
They
boards.
were your life.
Yeah, they're all burned in the Palisades fire. All those boards that I had packed are gone now.
Gone.
And anyway, but we're going back 34 years ago. And I called my parents, I said, not leaving, I'm home. And I mean, there were many other things, but that, you asked what was the moment?
Yes.
That was the moment.
I feel very, I understand you perfectly, because in my story, I also find faith, like there's a cheat in faith, because it's very difficult to trust in something that you don't understand. My parents told me, God and everything, religion, but I sense sort of, I don't know, something that couldn't develop myself in spirituality, in my God's relation, because it was all commandments, and it's difficult. But when you start seeing coherence, and the structure, you see divine finger in there.
Yeah.
So I understand you perfectly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the whole picture is so holistic. I mean, when you get down to it, it's crazy holistic. But here's the thing, something interesting is there's written Torah, then there's the oral Torah, which tells you how to keep the written Torah.
Yes.
And then there's the Kabbalah, which explains both the written Torah and the how-to book, the halacha, what to do.
Yes.
So you have the Kabbalah explaining everything. Which one do you think's the biggest? Which has the most writing?
Talmud, no, the oral Torah.
No, the Kabbalah.
Kabbalah.
The Kabbalah has way more. So let's take, for example, the halacha will teach you, the Talmud will teach you that before you eat a bread meal, you must wash your hands.
Yes.
Now, I could explain to you now for the next 3 hours what are hands, what is water, what is washing hands, what is a bread meal that requires the washing hands.
What's the symbol behind?
And we'll just keep going and going and going. That's the Kabbalah. That's the mystical. And when you remove the mystical, when you move what we today call Hasidut, which is the practical Kabbalah for the halakha, like what are we doing? That's the Hasidut. So if you remove that, it's like dehydrating meat. Who wants to eat meat that has no juice? No.
Yes.
you took the juice out of the soup, you know.
Beef jerky.
Yeah, you turned Judaism into beef jerky.
Yes.
And beef jerky is fun to chew on for a few minutes. You can't live on it.
You can't.
So the Kabbalah is the wetness of Judaism.
It's like they call it the keli and the or, no, the
Right, the light and the vessel.
The light and the vessel.
Right,
so,
the halacha is the vessel and the you know, what good's a light bulb if you don't have light coming out of it? You know, light bulbs die eventually. So what do you throw away the bulb? It's no good. That's why so many Jews are throwing away the bulb.
Yes.
You know, because they listen. You know, you're part of the Syrian community here in Mexico, and the number one thing when you're exiled from place to place to place to place to place, you're constantly being exiled, meaning the Jewish people.
Yes.
No one's interested in Kabbalah. We're interested in surviving. We need to survive physically.
Yes.
We need to build bate knesiot. We got to build, you know, synagogues.
We had to be practical.
Yeah, we just got to like
only practical. That's it.
You notice like people who, when you go to poor communities where it's a question whether they eat or not, it's usually dirty outside.
Yes.
When you go to nicer communities where there's food, it gets pretty nice outside. People start making little gardens, and the taxes of those wealthier people pay for street cleaning. So the Jewish people have been in such survival mode for so many years that the kids who grow up in it, it's dry.
We have left the street a little dirty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that. And there's not a lot of creativity.
There's not a lot of creativity.
Because creativity requires stability. And, you know, you can't get creative until a mathematician can't get creative until he learns how to do math.
Sure.
He has to first know how to do math, and he can start getting creative with other kinds of equations.
And it's the technical part, that is the keli,
right.
The vessel. Right. And then he gets in the ore, the water, you told about the water.
And unfortunately, the Jewish people are very much in survival mode. But amazingly, there's kind of a revolution going on, which they call in Mexico the spiritual revolution.
Yes.
Which is really cool. I love it because Chava Daniel and his Isaac Seaton, what's his name? What's the name of whatever he's been partnering with?
Yes, with Chava.
Yeah, they call it the spiritual revolution, which is, you know, pretty chutzpah, you know, like because all the rabbis are like, what are we?
Yes.
You know, and the answer is you're in charge to make sure everything's running in the synagogue and that there's prayer and there's, you know, a devar Torah or something. Spiritual revolution is to just pour water on the whole system, the whole thing.
Bring back the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it perfectly. And I spoke with Chava. I want to be part of this movement because in Mexico we have a strange phenomenon. That we have like a two-colored religion. That's it. Because of this, we have our grandparents brought to Mexico everything. They came without money, without culture, with little resources. So they found themselves like surviving.
Right.
And then they don't have the time to be creative. And now that, Baruch Hashem, we have big resources, big communities, we need this. It's like water.
Yeah, it's time.
We thirst for it. And it's difficult to speak with certain leaders for them to understand this thirst for younger people that we need a change. We need the water.
Maybe the important thing is to learn how to communicate that this is not a challenge to you. This is for you. Meaning the whole job is to communicate to these leaders that we're coming to help you. Because many of the leaders feel the connection to Hashem when they pray and stuff.
I will speak with Chava. Maybe it's not a revolution. Maybe it's an evolution.
Right. Spiritual evolution. Right. So then there's less defensiveness.
Yes.
Amongst the leadership. You know, it's the word spiritual is one of the greatest words ever. You know why? Because a ritual you can video. Someone's lighting Hanukkah candles, making kiddush. You know, you You can video ritual.
Yes.
Can you video spirit?
Impossible. Impossible.
So spirit is the soul of the ritual. So someone who is just doing the basic stuff is the vessel. That's just keli. That's the ritual.
Yes.
But to make it spiritual is when you infuse the ritual with the spirit behind it, which is that third wisdom
Yes.
of the mysticism inside of everything. And that's what creates the coherence. You understand? Because once you get the mystical thing.
Yes.
For example, in a bread meal, that's your most physical thing you're going to do is feed the animal. You can't live without feeding the animal.
Yeah.
So we're about to feed the animal. But before we feed the animal, so that what is the thing that's the most external to God? The most external thing to God is the actual physical world.
Material world, yes.
That's the most external. What's the most external thing on man who's a microcosm of God?
The fingers. Body?
The fingertips.
Fingers, okay.
Yeah. And that's our most external place. And it's called industriousness. It's called like going and doing, and ego and doing. That's called the yadeis of the hands of Esav.
Okay.
So we're motzi lechem min haaretz. We're taking the lechem, the physicality, from the over earth, artziut, like over earthiness.
Yes.
Like far from the light. And we're taking the bread out of that but we're starting with washing our ego, washing our industriousness.
Wow.
You know?
We're separating the keli from the ore, so we can take the ore, but we need the keli also.
And mayim achronim, like Sephardim love to say, mayim achronim, chova,
Yes.
the water after the meal. And that's also like a deep secret there is that, believe it or not, this is weird, nobody knows this, but the highest thing we do the whole day is Birkat HaMazon.
Why?
It's the highest thing we do. And guess what? In the world, outside of Israel, everyone's trying to make bread into a mezonot.
Yes.
So that they don't have to do the blessing after the meal.
Yes.
So you know what my teacher said? He said, the reason they've done that, New York, you never wash in New York. It's like you only wash. You eat sandwiches.
It's a business
pizza,
strategy
everything.
Also to be mezonot.
Yeah, but the reason why it takes so well is because my Rebbe says that the souls of the people can't take another Birkat HaMazon without kavanah. At least on Shabbat, you'll have kavanah. You'll think about the words. But on weekdays, outside of Israel, the soul can't take it anymore. So it's better just not to wash anymore. And unless you're going to concentrate.
Yes, sure.
If you concentrate, go ahead and wash. But and then comes Shabbat, everybody washes. In Israel, everyone washes. Sometimes I wash 3 times a day. And each Birkat HaMazon is like an experience.
Yes, it's easier. You have the Birkanim there, you have also the people, everything. It's easier. But I understand it. It's so powerful, the Birkat HaMazon. For us to, I think the main idea of the Birkat HaMazon is just to recognize that there is someone giving you life.
Right. Yeah.
So giving you the breath and recognize it, it's a big step in the mindset.
Right. It's like an extreme version of Avraham Avinu, Abraham, that when the guests would finish the meal, they would say,
Yes.
Thank you. And he would say, don't thank me, thank God, which is the whole reason he was bringing them.
Yes.
Was to first let them enjoy and then
Recognize
the source. By the way, the word Yehudi means recognition. So for example, if you gave me, let's say you gave me a pen right now as a gift.
Yes.
Nice pen. And then I thank the people behind, running the controls of the studio.
Yes.
I thank them. Thank you. You'd be like, I gave you the pen. They didn't give you the pen.
Thank me.
Thanking is the recognition of source.
Esta conversación es el mapa, pero el mapa nunca es el territorio. Las palabras por sí solas no te van a sacar del dolor. Se necesita trabajo. Y el trabajo real, el que cambia todo, empieza en el enlace que está en la descripción. Se llama RUTA CRÍTICA. Si te resuena y estás listo, aplica ahora para la entrevista de selección.
That's what it is.
Recognition. Ah, yes.
Recognition of source. And that's Hod.
Who is the hand giving it to you?
Yeah. And so the ultimate source of everything is, in the end, God. Oh my gosh, you want to hear a cool story?
Yeah, sure.
So there was a non-Hasidic, all-vessel rabbi who was the rabbi of an entire area of Europe.
Yes.
He had been everybody had been hearing rumors of the Baal Shem Tov, who was all juice, you know, he was all water, it was all the soup, you know,
yes.
the gravy. And everyone's hearing about him, and he's making miracles, and it's spiritual, and everyone's hearing. So meanwhile, the rabbi of an entire area of Europe, he's, you know, what is this guy? Who is this guy? And everyone's putting down the Baal Shem Tov because he's like, he's trouble.
Yes.
It's trouble for the establishment, the power. So this rabbi says, I'm going to see him. And people went crazy. That you're going to see him? You're going to see him? You're above all of us. Like, you're the one who's got to defend us.
Yes, that we're back.
He said, I'm going to see him because I got to see for myself. I'm not going to speak about someone I didn't meet. And then travel was long. He was not not near the Baal Shem.
No. And not business class also.
Right.
Long trips.
He travels, he gets there, he stayed for months. He comes back. and it's a huge greeting, a big, like, Kabbalat Panim, like a big, all the communities around, all the rabbis are up and down the table. They put him back to the head of the table. And they bring, you know, this beautiful silver, everything. And
yes.
And they said, what did you discover? And he said, I found out that there's a God. And the people were just like,
What?
That there's a God? And then the Gentile, you know, lady's coming out with a big platter of fruit. She comes around and comes to the table, and the rabbi next to him says, you know, he asked the lady, where's this fruit from? She said, it's from the kitchen. He said, where is it from before the kitchen? And she says, it was from the store, and before the store. It was from the fields, and before the fields. She said, it comes from God. And he looks at the man, the rabbi, and he says, you know, the Gentile lady, you know, says there's a God, you know? And she says, I know.
I know. Wow. Powerful.
And so he's the source behind all that stuff. But there's knowing.
I remember a story also I wanted to share with you. I was once with my family in dinner Shabbos. And we were talking about what's the most big desire you want in your life. And we were discussing. I told something, my mother something, my sister something, everything. And then the maid that helped us in home with the Shabbat and everything, he came and we asked her, what do you want, your biggest desire in life? You know what she told us? She told us a Shabbat dinner. She told us, and she was not Jewish. I wanted Shabbat dinner with my family, with everything, this holy space. We don't realize, we have it every single week, Baruch Hashem.
Wow. This special space.
Yes, this special space.
That's a beautiful story, wow. She really said that.
Yes. Rabbi, I want to enter, you tell me about the source of everything, about God.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's difficult to recognize it because it's not always love. There's also din, judgment. And when judgment knocks on our door, lo aleinu, we found out difficulties in life, in our life experience. And it's difficult also to recognize it, that it's from God, because like the Holocaust, God let Hitler do all that. it's very difficult to understand that he is the author.
Yeah, sure. You like my face?
I like your face.
Is it nice looking? I mean, do you really like it? Is it beautiful? Yours is beautiful.
Yours also is beautiful.
Guess what shaped it?
God. You and your traumas and your
Yeah, my pain.
pain, yes.
And it's what makes us beautiful. It's the things we go through in our lives and come out stronger and then able to help others in the same situations in a way that, you can't really help someone if you don't know. You can't just theorize
Yes.
about when you're trying to help somebody. You have to have been there. And so that's the beauty. And even though there's been, a lot of pain and a lot of suffering for the Jewish people, we don't understand. And, we're not God, we know God is a consciousness. It's clearly thinking, whatever it is, it's conscious,
Yes.
So, but to try to use my limited consciousness to understand that kind of consciousness is hard to understand. You can't really. And in fact, the Torah says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. Ki machshavotay lo machshavotechem. Ki darachai lo darkechem. My ways aren't yours. We don't understand God at all. It would be like a child, when we were kids, we didn't understand a lot of the rules that our parents were telling us. We wanted to stay awake. We wanted to do this. We wanted to that. We didn't understand, and we cried ourselves to sleep. And there was just clearly some other overarching thoughts of our parents that we were not capable to see. Yet we suffered and felt they were so unfair. They must hate us.
Yes.
They hate us. You hate me.
We hate them also.
So, and the same thing, like if you look at this wall here, if you stand, it's nice, it's really great the way the light hits the angles, everything. But if you stand with your nose against it, it's going to be pretty ugly. You back up.
As you can't see nothing.
Yeah, but when you back off of it, you start to get perspective, and you're like, hey, there's something beautiful here. So but like how we understand it, the suffering, but I can tell you one thing, is that the majority of souls, the Jews are the ones who've done most of the suffering. Not that Gentiles haven't suffered, but they usually have one point to notice it. Not
they
always.
have one story, we have 1,000 stories.
Yeah, it's beyond, way beyond what is considered possibly normal, like why we should have to go through all this. And, the majority of the souls of the Jewish people are upstairs. We've been around for a long time. Mount Sinai was 3,336 years ago. It's a lot of souls are up there. We think there are a lot of Jews here, way more up there. There's very few Jews embodied compared. What are we, 14 million people?
Yes.
There were more, they're just, the souls of the Jewish people are up there, they're not down here. And God prefers us up there. It's hard for him to send us down into this place. You can get lost so easily here.
Yes,
and
for sure.
And I was one of those lost souls, so it's very easy to get lost down here, and he prefers us up there. And sometimes he goes farming, and he says, like, I'm pulling him up. Come on up.
Like a melech basade.
Yeah, many people, do you know that the Nazis put on some of the gas chambers, they put the paroch, in a lot of, Ashkenazi synagogues,
yes.
You have a curtain.
Yes.
But many of them have like fabric that like goes around, and it also part of the curtain, but it's separate. It's
a frame.
Yeah, frame, but fabric.
Okay.
And it would say on it, Ze ashar Lashem tzadikim yavo. This is the gate to God that the tzadikim go through. So there were many Jews who had become totally secular, hiding from, we say Jews love to hide, hidden Jews. Did you know that in 1940, the amount of intermarriage in Germany was 55%. 55% in 1940. US Jews didn't get to 50% until the 1990s.
Wow.
Germany was 50%. Hitler rose to power in a major Jewish area that was, 55% intermarriage.
Yes.
I mean, the Jews were excellent at disappearing in Germany, and they really were. All his first decrees, if you look there, I have a list. All the list of Hitler's first decrees against the Jews, like the first 10, are exactly how we live today. Meaning they're the decrees we're supposed to have to begin with. Like they're it was like you can't be part of our clubs.
Yes.
We're not supposed to be part of their clubs. You understand?
Yeah, understood perfectly.
You can't marry a German. You're not supposed to marry Germans. It was like Hitler was like saying, hi, let me teach you how to be observant. Anyway, but on the gas, there were some places where the gas chambers, the Nazis, to torture them further, put on top of the doorway the stolen fabric. This is the gate that the righteous go to Hashem.
That's cool.
And guess what? A lot of those Jews who, were raised probably with some Judaism, saw it, realizing they were in the line that was going to die, and saw that, and just did tshuva right there, just did tshuva on the spot. And some sang the songs, because we have a lot of songs for those words,
It was Shara Shamayim, the gates of...
The gates to heaven.
Heaven.
And we have a Kabbalistic secret. It's a weird thing, and not a very nice thing to say, but there's a Kabbalistic secret that anyone who's killed for being a Jew has no judgment for his soul when he leaves the world. He goes straight in. So, for example, like remember in 2001 when the Arabs were blowing up buses in Israel, the Intifada?
Yes.
So every day there was like a bus going, So imagine there's like this chassid, on the bus, and he's saying Tehillim the whole time, keeping his eyes away from the women, he's like this holy guy, And next to him is some guy with tattoos and body piercings, and like, he's like, doesn't keep anything, and who knows what he's up to, and, and then all of a sudden,
they crashed.
And now they're in heaven next to each other. And the chassid's like, what are you doing here? And the guy with the tattoo, I don't know. Where are we? I don't even know where I am. And because there's no judgment for being killed for being a Jew. So what I call this is soul farming. It's a weird thing to say.
Soul farming?
Soul farming. Sometimes God harvests his people to come home.
Yes.
And especially if they've gone far away. He loves the tzaddikim. He's always taken the tzaddikim. Those he loves. But and tzaddikim, by the way, are not here for themselves.
What do you mean?
There are souls that come to this world that are not for themselves. They're here for the community, for the
people, service.
Yeah, they're in pure service, nothing else.
Yeah. I was wondering, maybe an idea of what you told me. It's that maybe that's the goal, that we recognize our Jewishness, that we're a chelek Elokam Imal, we are a part of Him. That's the whole point of this life, maybe. So when you get to that point that someone else remembers you, that you are a chelek Elokam Imal, you are a part of God, of everything, maybe that's why there's no judgment, because you already make the tikkun of being what you are meant to be. You understand?
You're saying since that's what we're here to do anyway, and since now he's getting killed for being that guy.
Yes.
So now you are that guy.
Yes. Even though it's not L'Shem Shamayim, that's it. The fact it's also a mitzvah, no? If you don't make it with kavanah, it counts like a mitzvah, no?
Oh yeah, sure.
Rab, you told me about your surf boards that they burned. What do you keep of that Yom Tov Glaser guy surfing. It also went with that burning California disaster. Where is that child today in you?
So he's very alive. The question more is, where's the adult in me?
I see both in you.
So I grew up, because I didn't grow up religious, I grew up secular.
Yes.
There's a big issue in Western secular people, and that is that because we don't have bar mitzvah, meaning we have bar mitzvah, but there's a lot more bar than mitzvah, because there's no real transition between childhood and adult. That's what I mean, transition.
Yes.
There's no rite of passage. If you go in the jungles of Mexico, down to Cancun or Zihuatanejo or Oaxaca, you go to these villages, and the villages in Guatemala, and Costa Rica, and all the way down and into Peru or Colombia, any of these places. When a kid turns 12, 13, girls usually 12, boys 13. And notice in Judaism, girls are 12 and boys 13. It's the same in these jungles, because they develop before the boys. There's no such thing as children above the age of puberty. When the body matures, there is a major ceremony. Certain Indians will put the boy in a hole in the ground. They lower him to the ground and take the rope. They throw food sometimes, But get to know yourself. We'll be back in 9 months, a year, or 6 months, depending on the tribe.
Tough.
Another tribe, there's tribes in North America that they take the boy, first the village celebrates, they take him to the edge of the village, and then the family takes him another few miles, and then the father takes him for 2 days.
Baruch Hashem, we're Syrians. We get to that point when 40 years old.
Right. Anyway, they take him out, the father takes him a few days and then says, if you make it back, you'll be a man.
Yes.
So our society, it just keeps everyone boys, especially in a society where the parents are so helpful financially, that you never grow up. And sometimes I've even heard stories of women that are stories of families that broke up because the women were not so faithful, whether emotionally not faithful or actually not faithful. And that always boils down to the boy. Because she's married to a boy.
Okay. Esta conversación es el mapa, pero el mapa nunca es el territorio. Las palabras por sí solas no te van a sacar del dolor. Se necesita trabajo. Y el trabajo real, el que cambia todo, empieza en el enlace que está en la descripción. Se llama RUTA CRÍTICA. Si te resuena y estás listo, aplica ahora para la entrevista de selección.
And so when the children don't have a real demarcation between childhood and adulthood, and there isn't a strong line there.
Yeah, it's like a bookmark.
This is it.
Something.
It's time for you to get your act together and start taking responsibility. Obviously, it's young.
Yes.
But what better way to grow into it? As
perfect.
your body's changing. By the time they've trained you into man or woman, your body changes, and hey, I've been pretending for 2-3 years, but now I'm in.
Yes.
So I grew up in California, in a very nice Jewish community that wasn't observant, but we were never, ever taught to grow up. We never grew up. We literally never grew up. In fact, we get together for reunion, me and my Gentile friends.
Yes.
They're my best friends. I grew up with these guys.
Yes.
They're not losing my best friends. So they're my best friends. And we get together sometimes. And when we get together, we are like 10-year-olds. We're like 10-year-olds.
Yes.
For 3-day weekend or something. It's ridiculous. I'm keeping Shabbat, They're not. They're not.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not Jewish, but we never grew up. And the image I like is when you see a kid playing at the park,
Yes.
A cute kid playing at the park with his father, but his father's wearing the same outfit. The father's also in shorts and a t-shirt. Like, there's no self-respect.
Yes, I understand.
There's no dignity. There's no. He never grew up.
Yes.
And now he's raising a kid's raising a kid now.
Yes.
And what happened when I got to Israel at 23, I grew up.
Because you had to be alone
I had to
with yourself.
I had to just take that kid and stuff him.
Yes.
Shut up, okay? I'm keeping kosher. Shut up. We're not surfing on Shabbat. Shut up. We are going to humble ourselves and put leather straps on our arm,
Yes.
and etc. And I told him to shut up quite a bit. After about, I don't know, maybe 2 years, I noticed that my Talmud study, my study of the Talmud, was going downhill. Guess who else noticed? My Talmud teacher, my Gemara Rebbe.
Yes.
And he says to me, he pulls me aside one morning and he says to me, tell me, what did you love to do in California? So I said, I love surfing. And he thinks, where am I going to send surfing? We're in Jerusalem. So he said, what else? And I said, I loved mountain biking. And he looks at me and he says, you're not allowed back in my class until you have a mountain bike. Do you have a mountain? I said, I don't. And where am I going to get a mountain bike? It hadn't started in Israel yet.
How many years you were there in Israel?
At that point, it was 2 years.
At that point, 2 years.
So he's like, you're not allowed back in my class until you bought a mountain bike. And I'm like, where am I going to find a mountain? He's like, you'll find one. Go look. I leave the class. I spend the whole day in Jerusalem looking, half the day, no mountain bike. It's before mountain biking.
Yes.
I wound up in Tel Aviv. I did phone calls. I found in Ramat HaSharon, like North Tel Aviv, I found a mountain bike store. Like they had one mountain bike. I bought the mountain bike. Come back next morning. I go in. He says, did you get a mountain bike? I said, I did. He said, did you ride it? I said, no. And he says, you're not allowed back in my class until you rode the mountain bike. Today, it's now 32 years later. I ride every 2 days. Every other day, I'm out in the most gorgeous trails in the world. I've never stopped. But I was getting depressed at that point. And I actually went to therapy.
Yes.
And with the therapist put 2 chairs, and I had to keep switching chairs. One chair was Johnny, because I grew up Johnny. I'm not
Johnny.
Yeah, my name's John, and everyone called me Johnny. I had Johnny and Yom Tov, and we
Fight each other.
Fought. It was like, shut up, you shut up. But after, I think I had 3 therapies on this, just doing this 3 times.
Yes.
My whole beginning and end. And we made friends. And the question is one of these, I'm going to teach a question. It's called the impossible question. Or I think there's a better name, miracle question. How can I be fully observant with Johnny inside me?
Yes. I that was like the core of my questions. I had it all around different because I see you like very with a Hasidic outfit. How does Johnny or Yom Tov fits in there? You're always structured in a keli.
Yeah.
And how do you touch your soul, your Johnny, your little boy there?
Well, I've got a few things about.
And sorry, and how you don't get lost in the character you made out of yourself.
Right. Well, first of all, I never see my outfit. Like, you can't look at me without these. I can't see them.
They're gorgeous, by the way.
Thank God gave me natural pants, because I'm not the kind of guy who would be busy with my hair. So, I don't see these. I don't see this either. This is my knife. There is no way I'm changing my entire life for one generation. This has to be for my children and my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. So I looked around and I said, which community is doing the best job with continuity? Which community's grandchildren and great-grandchildren still smell Jewish?
Yes.
So I looked around and I was like, the black hat community. Now, by the way,
I learned a lot over the years. I mean, I was naive. I was young. I was what they call young and dumb. But again, I'm transforming my life. I'm making huge sacrifices for this. You know, and my father's bankruptcy, even though he went bankrupt, he sold his house to Dustin Hoffman, you know.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, he was like broke for 4 months. You know, he sold one of the most expensive homes in LA and moved immediately to the cliffs overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
So like I was leaving a lot behind there. And this has to be forever for my kids, my grandkids, for down the line. And I got to do this right. Now you should know when I met the Black Hat community, I realized they themselves lose people.
Yes.
And so what am I going to do now? Great, I joined a community that I thought was forever, and they themselves have their own attrition, you know, people leaving.
Yes.
So that's what my wife and I said, that when our kids come home from their schools, we're going to do damage control.
What it means?
We raised our kids hybrids.
Hybrids. Okay.
They're hybrids. They got literally everything I got growing up in the coolest place in the world, like Malibu, California. You know,
Yeah.
like they got everything. And my sons are hardcore mountain bikers. You understand? We're like a yogic family. You know, everyone's in like amazing shape. Their careers are unique, creative. You know, my oldest son's a one-of-a-kind percussionist and music engineer, and each one has these things. My youngest son's an inventor. You know, he's an unbelievable inventor. It's like Elon Musk is in my own.
Wow. You
know, and now he's going to be going into engineering. You know, wow. To get the backing of the.
Congratulations.
So this is all hybrid kids raised in my home, because I realized that they really have to have the full spectrum of it all, and they all really respect the choices we made. They don't all love it. But they understand.
They have the system inside of them.
They have it inside, but they also understand that the system's for a reason.
Yes.
There's a reason behind it. And that's what we started with, was structure.
Structure.
It's just too much structure and not enough order.
I understand. And this question comes from inside of me because, you know, I'm a singer since I was 12 years old. And I love to sing. I really love to sing. It's my passion. But in some time in my life, I stopped singing because I noticed myself that I really loved applauses of people.
Right.
They recognize me, they give me attention for it, and then I lost myself in the character.
Sure. That's what's survival strategy.
Yes, my survival
strategy. In the
strategy.
Possible You seminar, that's what we call the survival strategy.
I just shared a little bit in the introduction about the Possible You, and
when you get real, you realize that it's there to protect you from exposure of something else called the negative beliefs.
Yeah, sure.
All those applause are to protect you from them, which is why rock stars like choke on their vomit at 3 a.m. in a hotel room a quarter mile away from 30,000 people that were clapped like 3 hours ago.
Yes.
You know, there's something.
You told me that we mix attention with love.
Yeah, the counterfeit of it.
The counterfeit.
Counterfeit of love. Love is our deepest need.
Yes.
That's like the real stuff. More important than food, water, shelter, clothing is love. You could have everything, but if the way I say it is, your life is only as good as its relationships, which is love. What's relationships? Yes. It's love.
Connection.
So if love's mixed up and messed up and painful and vulnerable and too scary to even really have in a real intimate way, so then the counterfeit is attention. Looks like love, feels like love.
It feels like
when
love.
You're getting it, you're like, everyone loves me, you know. But the second it goes away and you're laying in your bed by yourself, it's like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, nobody knows.
You felt that hole in your heart?
Yes, nobody knows me. Everyone knows the character but nobody knows me. No, so maybe they love, but they love the character. Right. They don't love me because they don't know me. They know the one that I'm showing. Right. So I really stopped singing because I didn't want to get to the character again. And there's an archetype in the Torah. I feel it's Yosef, that he has two like characters. The Tzafanat Panea, when he was the prince of Egypt, but he was also Yosef, the Hebrew, the son of the Ben of Yaakov. That's it. And he had this right equilibrium, the equity. How would you say?
He suffered a lot.
He suffered a lot.
Whoa. But to the world, he's the visionary.
Yes, and then I reflect with him because I don't want to get my Tzafanat Panea never again to show up. It's very difficult to me to be in between, you know? Right. Who am I? We return to the original question that you taught us in the seminary. Who am I?
Right. But the thing is, Jack, is the next time we speak, I'm expecting that you're singing for people. Once you realize that that's just a belief, whatever it is that attention covered up was a belief.
Yes.
What we call inner negative beliefs. It's just a belief. It's circumstantial. Had someone else been in the same circumstance, he would add another belief. It's just a story.
It's a story.
It's a story, and it's a meaningless story. It means nothing. And once you really let that be meaningless, so it doesn't really matter anymore, you have a great singing voice and an amazing stage presence.
Thank you.
And the people who listen to you, you can raise them up in all kinds of ways, whether it's spiritually or in just joy. And
by the way, you too, you sing gorgeously. He has a very, very special songs that he sang to us on the seminary. It was really, really a thing.
So you, Jack, one of your contributions as a human being is your singing voice to humanity. Before it was for you, you weren't giving concerts, you were taking concerts.
Yes.
You can now give them. You're licensed. You're licensed to give concerts. Before, you were driving without a license. It's illegal. And you see that it wasn't working. It was messing you up.
Yes.
And you were taking from the audience. Now you must
service.
You must service the world, which is our goal of life. Is we came here to serve.
Rabbi, thank you very much. It is you. I have to tell you that you changed my life. You touch it in several ways. It was really a trip. The possible you. You are.
It proves you don't need drugs.
Yes,
right.
For sure.
I've never met anyone going to the jungles for something that got more out of that than the possible you. Never.
No, it's really a thing by itself. I recommend it to the audience to take a chance on it, and nothing. The most valuable thing about the possible you and all the technical knowledge you have, it's your soul. It's you as a person. That's the thing that I felt that changed me. It's not the chords, it's not the information, it's you, and I really appreciate it. I wanted to thank you also for being here, for giving me the opportunity to interview you. I was telling you that it's my first English interview, so sorry the audience for my English, but I really, really thank you. Esta conversación es el mapa, pero el mapa nunca es el territorio. Las palabras por sí solas no te van a sacar del dolor. Se necesita trabajo. Y el trabajo real, el que cambia todo, empieza en el enlace que está en la descripción. Se llama RUTA CRÍTICA. Si te resuena y estás listo, aplica ahora para la entrevista de selección.